Today, I want to talk about growth and the nature of evolution. How do we shed our past selves? How do we embrace change? And how do we move towards greater peace, harmony, and wellness within ourselves? Now, an important aspect of change is found in being able to let go of who you once felt yourself to be. You need to let go of your comfort patterns, and you need to have a kind of orientation towards life which embraces impermanence, which embraces death, the death of all your past selves. Because in order to change, in order to grow, something in you has to die in order to make space for that change. We cannot change when we are clinging to those old patterns, those old ways of seeing, those old mental models. They have to be let go. However, when we let go of these old patterns, we are thrust into chaos. We're thrust into uncertainty. The reason we cling to these old patterns is they give us a sense of stability, a sense of comfort, a sense of knowingness. They reduce our sensation of discomfort and uncertainty. However, change in its most fundamental form is uncomfortable. It feels as though you're stepping beyond the bounds of your true capacities. And that's scary, I suppose. But if we can relate to that that sphere, that zone of the unknown with a sense of reverence, a sense of, okay, I know this is my limit, but I'm willing to step past that. I'm willing to put myself at risk of failing. I think in many ways, our fear of failure is one of the most significant impediments to growth, because it prevents us from taking risks. It prevents us from really opening ourselves up to the universe to see whatever happens. We want to stick with what we know, because we know we can succeed within that realm. To grow, really, you have to become a student of the universe. And in order to become a student, you have to take as a basic standing point that there are things that you don't know. There are things that you have not mastered yet. There are things that you are a novice at. But if you can assume the position of a student with a sense of humility and a curiosity to know, then that is going to be a mental attitude that is going to serve you well in many aspects of life. We do not become a master without first passing through these initiations as a student. And yet, even if you become a master in, say, one realm of life, there are many other realms of life that you have not tapped into, that you have not explored. One thing that we should all take into serious consideration is the zones of life that we have not mastered, that we have not dipped our toes into. The things that we have, I suppose, deep down on our to-do list, but we never find the time to do them because we are sticking with what we know. I want you to honestly take a conscious account of the things that you do throughout your day and how many of those things are truly different. How many of those things truly challenge you and put you in this state where you feel a little bit unsettled, I think so many people sort of turn away from stress and things that unsettle them because of this sort of, this deep desire for comfort, but this deep desire for comfort is incapacitating them at a deep level. We need stress, we need uncertainty, we need to be really challenged by the universe. We need to feel that resistance in order to grow. There is no growth when there is no resistance. Think about this in an exercise sort of way. You need to put your muscles under a degree of stress in order to give them the stimulus that they need in order to grow. And we need that psychological stimulus in order to really wake up and start paying attention to the world differently. For some people, it can take something as substantial as a near-death experience to force them to really take a serious look at their life, to reevaluate it in a more profound manner, to start taking more seriously the things they are doing, the time they are spending. So many of us, we don't have a deep awareness of the finitude of life. And when we don't understand that death is going to occur, disintegration is going to occur, when we don't deeply understand that, or perhaps we sort of push it to the back of our minds and carry on with our life, we don't take seriously the moments that we have right now. So many people are just wasting their life away. They're just stuck in old patterns I see in so many people. They never change. Now, why is this? Why are they so reluctant to change? Like I've said, it's because of the fear of the unknown, a fear of true evolution. Now, I don't think we should just change for change's sake. We should have a certain purpose to our evolution. Our evolution should be aligned to what reality is sort of teasing out from us. And our evolution shouldn't be to become this radical transformation of ourselves. We should be, culling the patterns that don't serve us and nurturing the patterns that do serve us. If you have a great morning routine, a way of starting the day, or something that grounds you, that gets you into the present, then stick with them. If it works, it works. Don't throw out something just because you want to change. You should throw out the things that do not serve you. You should keep and nourish the things that do serve you. And how do we identify the things that are serving us? We identify the things that are serving us by how they make us feel in the experience of doing them. Do we feel energized and deeply excited, deeply fascinated by such things? Do they take you into a flow state where you are playing with the universe, where you're dancing with the universe? Or do they feel very tedious? Do they feel very laborious to do? Does it feel inauthentic for you to, allocate time towards doing this? These are all things that you need to consider. And sometimes, you just need to do something completely unexpected so that you surprise yourself, in fact. I think a lot of boredom comes from a lack of surprise in our reality. We do the same thing over and over again, and no wonder we are so bored by life. If you want to excite yourself and do something differently, challenge yourself,